Hello and welcome to Encore, the arts and culture show here on France 24. Today we have a special guest.
Good evening, peepers, prowlers, pederasts, pedants, panty sniffers, punks, and pimps.
He's a self-proclaimed demon dog of crime fiction, and his own backstory is as riveting as anything he's penned. The unsolved murder of his own mother has been the driving force behind his work, turning him into an uncompromising, unapologetic chronicler of humanity's dark side. After spending his 20s drunk, drugged, and delinquent, he went on to become a best-selling author with books like LA Confidential and The Black Dahlia also being turned into blockbuster films. I'm delighted to welcome James Ellroy to the show. Hello, James. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, Jade, what's shaking, soul sister?
What's shaking is you, James, and your latest literary offering, Shakedown.
Yes.
You're here in France as part of the Quai du Polo, which is a massive crime genre festival taking place in Lyon this weekend. And Shakedown has just been released here in France in French.
Yes.
It's called Extorsion here.
Yes.
It tells the story of Fred Otash, who is actually a real-life vice cop turned Hollywood private detective. You often write about real people and events. Why do you like to blend history and fiction?
Jade, I'm a megalomaniac. The grand design of my career is to rewrite history to my own specifications. So I have real people doing things they really did and a whole shitload of things they didn't really do. And it's up to you to tell me what's real and what's not.
You're not going to give anything away then?
No.
All right, well, to give our viewers a bit more of an understanding now of your fictionalized character, Fred Otash, can you read us an excerpt from the book?
Yeah, dig it, peepers, prowlers, pederasts, pedants, panty sniffers, punks, and pimps, from James Ellroy's great novella, Shakedown. There I am. I'm primping in front of a hallway mirror in full uniform. Fred Otash at 27, beefcake, boss, and banging them Bonnaroo bitches with my big bone. I exemplify greasy good looks. I'm full-blooded Lebanese, a camel cad from the get-go. I was a Marine Corps DI during the big war. I joined the LAPD in late 45, and I went on the grift fast. I put together an ex-jarhead burglary ring. My downtown footbeat provided me with a roadmap of exploitable biz fronts. My gang hit pawn shops that fenced contraband, pharmacies that pushed narcotics, bookie joints behind storefront churches. I fingered the jobs. My gang clouded cash and merchandise. They were 2 a.m. creepers. I knew when the graveyard shift prowl cars were elsewhere and passed the word along.
Brilliant, thank you so much. You really get a sense of the character just through your writing and your style of writing. You have a very unique style. I read actually that this partly came about when your editor for LA Confidential told you had to cut down what you had written. Instead of omitting subplots, you just took out unnecessary words. How would you describe your style?
Well, that style worked for LA Confidential, but not for this book. This book is in scandal language, because it's all about the language itself, and it's all about the dirty secrets of Hollywood in the 50s. Style for me is always subordinate to the books that I'm writing. But to get back to your original comment, that was the beginning of extreme concision in my style.
All right, well, talking about your style, we caught up with your French editor at your book signing in Paris, and this is what he had to say about your style and success.
Il trouve quelque chose.
He finds something that works, but then he tries to find something else. He tests his writing. Often what he does is experimental literature. In the Underworld USA trilogy and the second American Death Trip, he doesn't use verbs. Some readers can't even follow the story. And that's what I think is fantastic about him. He reinvents himself with every book.
He was just saying there that some readers find it difficult to follow your stories. What do you think about that?
It's true. There have been books where I have erred on the style of concision, but I've come back from that. I write in a more fulsome, elegant, explicated style now, as the emotional content of my books becomes deeper, as frankly, I become deeper.
All right, well, talking about becoming deeper and moving on, tell us a bit about your latest project. You're putting the finishing touches, I believe, on your first novel of a second LA quartet. Can you give us a bit of a taster of what we
Yes,
can
no,
expect?
I'm actually done with it. The book is called Perfidia. Perfidia was a 1938 big band hit, and Perfidia is betrayal in Spanish. It's the first volume of my second LA quartet. The original LA quartet, The Black Dahlia, The Big Knower, LA Confidential, and White Jazz, covers 1946 to 1958 in LA. It's followed by the Underworld USA trilogy, American Tabloid, The Cold 6000, and Blood's a Rover. The second LA quartet, of which Perfidia is the first volume, is these people, many of the fictional, many of the real-life characters from the second two bodies of work, transplanted to LA during World War II as much younger people. It's never been done before.
Interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of eager people waiting to get their hands on a copy of that.
The book comes out in September, and they're already lined up
I bet they are.
outside bookstores.
I bet they are. Let's go back now to a bit of your personal history. A lot of your books, perhaps not your next projects, but a lot of your past writings have really been driven by the death of your mother. You seem to explore this in a lot of your writing. Is your writing a way of coming to terms with that death?
No. My mother was murdered when I was 10 years old. I wrote my memoir, My Dark Places, about it. It's very much a vehicle to honor my mother. I don't expect to get beyond this. I'm a happy, evolved human being. But she's there, and she is the hidden human voice of history, and you can look to her, this tortured woman named Jean Hilliker, and say, that's why James Ellroy has to recreate over and over again the secret, private infrastructures of big events.
All right. Well, after your mother's death, it kind of set off a period in your life where you were consumed by alcoholism, drugs, petty crime. There was even a period of insanity, homelessness. Do you draw on these experiences for your books?
No, I overcome these experiences, and I sit stone cold sober in a room, sip coffee, and apply myself with all the consciousness of which I'm capable to the task of writing great books.
How did you turn your life around then, and what made you want
I
to...
credit God with the save.
And is that what made you want to become a writer?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as you were saying before, a lot of your books set in LA, but it's a nostalgic look back at a decade straight after World War II. What is it about the LA in the 50s and 40s that has a hold on you?
I'm from LA. So you're from Australia and Perth, I think you told me.
That's right.
And if you were going to write deep, dark, autobiographical fiction, it would most likely be Perth, Australia.
It really wouldn't.
Okay,
That's
okay.
the difference maybe between
Yeah.
LA and Perth, potentially.
Well, my parents hatched me in a cool locale.
Yeah.
I can only say that. People tend to be obsessed with that immediate period before their births. It's as if there's a racial memory, and they're grasping for clues as to how they got there, here, now. I'm like that. And I just got lucky that Mom and Dad hatched me in LA, the big nowhere.
And what about the here and now? Do you want to write more about contemporary LA?
No.
Why?
No.
Why not? Why doesn't it interest you?
No, I'm a reactionary. I'm always looking backward. I live in my imagination. I'm back reliving history. People say your books are allegories of America today. They're not. I ignore America today. I've never booted onto a computer. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a TV set. I don't go to the movies. I don't watch television. I have never been on the internet. I'm computer illiterate. The world today is nothing but frustrating to me. I live in the past. I lock myself up in my vintage 1926 Spanish house in the Hollywood Hills and write books about World War II.
And yet your Shakedown was published on an ebook. Rather ironic.
Because I owed an editor a favor in America. And
So you
I
have
always
to,
pay
you
my
have to
debts.
conform to the biz then, I suppose.
I'm glad that the woman who types my books for me has a computer because it makes corrections easier.
All right.
Other than that, the hell with computers.
You often put on this kind of grand persona in your media appearances.
Uh-huh.
You say yourself that you're the greatest crime novelist who ever lived.
Yeah.
It's, not many writers come out there and just say that. Why do you put on this kind of persona?
I'm ebullient and exuberant by nature. I like to perform. I'm having a blast. I'm here in Paris. I'm talking to you. I'm going back to the hotel, take a nap, do some more interviews this afternoon. I live in gratitude. You can either treat the task of promotion as if it's drudgery and a pain in the ass.
Of course not.
Or you can
having great
go
fun.
out, yes, and you can
But
embrace it.
who are you in real life, James? Do your friends and your families, do they get to know the real James Ellroy?
The real James Ellroy is quiet, meticulous, extremely diligent, and I sit in a room 12 and 14 hours a day and put words on paper. But every once in a while, the demon dog is let off his leash to go out and do promotion. And he's like the dog who's chewed his way through the chain staked into the lawn.
All right, well, just lastly, the film adaptations of your books like LA Confidential and The Black Dahlia have no doubt helped spur your rise to fame. You've said not to be that overly impressed by some of the film adaptations. You yourself haven't been involved in the screenwriting of all of them. Is this perhaps an area that you'd like to become more involved in or get into?
I write movies for money. I write TV shows for money. I know you're going to end with a clip from Street
That's because I
Kings.
told you. You're
yes,
cheating.
Yes, you told me. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
All right. Well, we have to leave it there, I'm afraid. But thank you so much, James Ellroy, for coming in to talk to us.
Jade, it was a great pleasure.
You have a fascinating story.
It was a gas.
It was an absolute gas. We're going to leave you now, as James gave away, with images from the film Street Kings, starring Keanu Reeves and Forrest Whitaker. It's actually one that he helped to write. Thanks for watching, and see you for more culture soon.
I am the American dream, the blood of this city, the undying machine, the overpriced medicine, the murderous regime, the tough guys front and the one behind the scene.
Who are we? You straight nightmare.
Killed another man today.
On the streets of LA,
I could not be prouder of my men.
every cop wants justice.
There are 2 cop killers out there. We can get these guys.
But how they get it
You dudes is monsters, man.
is what sets them apart.
So we're just gonna go in there and kill them?
No, I'm gonna ask them some questions.